Hey Canucks fans, if you're forced to pick only one, would you keep Chris Tanev or Troy Stecher? I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, January the 31st. Canucks are getting set to take on the New York Islanders in Long Island on Saturday afternoon for New York, Saturday morning for us. Quick tidbit, you might not know this, I actually considered taking a job in Long Island way back in 1999 or so. Yes, I'm sure half of you weren't even born. Half of you watching this weren't even born. But yes, I was in between jobs and I almost took a Catholic youth minister position, a parish youth ministry job in Long Island. And imagine that. I could have been having to cheer on teams like the Islanders and the Nets and the Mets and the Yankees and Rangers and Devils. Who knows? But suffice to say, that did not happen. And I'm still here in Vancouver. You're welcome very much. Okay, so the Canucks are getting ready to play New York Islanders. We know that Tyler Mott flew home to get his upper body, his shoulder likely looked at. We know that Anton Roussel had a maintenance day, so he likely will play. We know that Jay Beagle got slightly injured blocking that shot, but he was at practice day, although Roussel wasn't. So with Mott out, we're going to see at least one of Schaller, of Bailey, and McEwen. We know that Bailey and McEwen were called up yesterday. We'll see at least one of them tomorrow, if not two, if Roussel can't go tomorrow, but it sounds like Roussel will go. And maybe it's going to be Schaller that comes in on the fourth line with Sutter and Beagle. And then it looks like Bailey and McEwen might be healthy scratches, but at least it gives the team some flexibility, some insurance as they continue on this road trip. So they got New York Islanders tomorrow, and then they have Carolina on Sunday. I'll preview tomorrow's game tomorrow. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to get a video in before tomorrow's game because it's so early and because I usually bowl with the kids on Saturday morning. So we'll see. I'll definitely do a post-game tomorrow afternoon after the game. But for today, as we start to look at the trade deadline, as we start to look ahead to July 1, as we look at, before that, we look ahead towards a playoff run, hopefully a deep playoff run, we should talk about the right side of the defense only because of the contract status of some of these guys. So I'm not talking about Tyler Myers, who still has a few years left on his contract, but I am talking about the other two right-handed defensemen, and that's Chris Tanev and Troy Stecher. And this has already come up a little bit. It's going to come up a lot more going forward. So my question to you right off the bat is, who do you keep? If you can only keep one of them, because it might get to that point where we can only keep one of them. Do you keep the veteran in Chris Tanev or still the young up-and-comer, although getting older, in Troy Stecher? So here's the contract situation. Chris Tanev is a UFA on July 1st. Unrestricted, that means he can go anywhere he wants. Right now, his contract pays him about $4.45 million. So that's Chris Tanev, and maybe he gets an Alex Edler type deal where it's 2 years with no trade protection or no movement protection, if that makes sense. So that could be an option. Then you have Troy Stecher, who's an RFA, a restricted free agent. So that means Canucks have first dibs to negotiate with him, but they don't have to always agree. They don't always have to sign him. And he's coming off a contract that pays him $2.33, so about half of what Chris Tanev is making. And some are saying Troy Stecher, if he has arbitration rights, he might be able to get a really good deal from the team. Others are saying maybe not because of his limited ice time. I'll get to that in a second. So it sets up a very fascinating conundrum. When you look, you know that the Canucks are going to have about $18 million to play with, and not really play with, to spend. They have $18 million to sign guys like Jacob Markstrom, UFA, Josh Levo, perhaps UFA, then Tyler Mott, RFA, Troy Stecher, RFA, Chris Tanev, UFA, Jake Virtanen, a big one, RFA. So even if you look at guys like just Markstrom, Virtanen, Tanev, and Stecher, let's say those are your priorities, and maybe Levo and Mott you want to do something with. I think Gaudette needs a new contract. I also think that Oscar Fantenberg is a UFA, but I would argue those guys are more minor pieces. What are you going to do? And can you sign not only Markstrom, Virtanen, Markstrom maybe $6 million or so, Virtanen maybe 3 to 3.5, given that Cassian signed a contract for 3.2. Then Chris Tanev, is he going to want 4 to 5 million again? Troy Stecher, does he want 3 to 3.5? So you can see where you add all those up, that almost comes to 18 million just between those four guys, and you still have to bring other guys in. Maybe you replace guys like Mott and Levo with guys like a Höglander if he makes the team, or Colin. So I know there's a lot of, that's why you want some entry-level guys to come in too at $900,000, right, as opposed to in the millions. But I think it's very important to recognize that the Canucks could be in a I almost said crap crunch. They could be in a cap crunch because of who they have to re-sign. So Chris Tanev, you know what? I I would think that Troy Stecher, you think, is the more offensive of the two players. Chris Tanev is a veteran, a stalwart when it comes to defense, blocking shots, and killing penalties. Whereas Troy Stecher would be the more offensive guy, better skater, better offensive instincts. But I was actually very surprised when I looked at the stats. So far this season, they have both played 51 games. Chris Tanev has double the points. Chris Tanev has 17 points in those 51 games. So obviously, 0.33, point every 3 games. He has 2 goals, 15 assists, which is pretty good. 17 points in those 33 games. Can't even talk here. Contrast that to Troy Stecher, who only has 9 points in those 51 games. 3 goals, 6 assists. So he actually has 1 more goal than Chris Tanev, but a lot fewer assists. So again, Chris Tanev, 17 points. Troy Stecher, 9 points in 51 games. And that really, really surprised me. I didn't think Stecher would have more, but I thought it'd be way closer than that. But then I looked on the time of ice time. Chris Tanev is getting 19, just under 20 minutes a game. Troy Stecher getting just under 15 minutes a game. So that's a 5-minute difference. Now, you could say 2 to 4 to 5 of those minutes per game could be shorthanded minutes, because Tanev nor Stecher play on the power play. So the big difference comes in shorthanded minutes. Tanev and Edler are usually the first shorthanded pair. So that could make a difference of a few minutes there as well. Obviously, Tanev playing on the second pair with Quinn Hughes gets more time than Stecher, who plays on the third pair. Although Stecher has been playing with Alex Edler on what you'd call the top pair, but Stecher has played on the third pair as well this season with guys like Jordy Ben or Oscar Fantenberg. So I think at even strength, there could be equal now that Stecher's playing with Edler, but the extra 3 or 4 minutes a game could come from penalty killing minutes that Chris Tanev plays. Maybe not as much as 4 minutes a night, but there's a difference in averages of 5 minutes per game is because for a lot of the season, Troy Stecher is playing limited minutes on the third pair with Jordy Ben. Like I said, recently playing more minutes though with Alex Edler. But you can see where the time on ice makes a big difference. Although you're not going to rack up a lot of points killing penalties, but you're still on the ice more often, and you might get a chance to get an assist here and there on a shorthanded goal. But more importantly, playing with Quinn Hughes at even strength, Chris Tanev has a better chance to get points than Troy Stecher, who's either playing with a Jordy Ben or even Alex Edler, still not as proficient offensively as Quinn Hughes, of course. So I was surprised at that. 17 points for Tanev, 9 points for Stecher, but just under 20 minutes for Tanev every game, just under 15 minutes for Stecher. What do you do, Canucks fans? If I had to choose, I would still take Troy Stecher. He's younger. He'll probably be cheaper for the next couple years. Like, he's not going to make as much as Chris Tanev. You could argue he's more durable, although they both have played every single game for the Canucks this season, thank goodness. But Chris Tanev is such a leader in the locker room. That can't be understated either. His teammates love him. Fans love him. I'm sure that Travis Green loves him. But is he going to want 4.5? Is he going to want 5 or 5.5 million, 6 million, close to Alex Edler money, given that he's reaching the same type of experience and same type of value? So it's going to be very interesting. The way that the game's going, you'd think that Troy Stecher, given more minutes, would get some more points and would be more of a threat offensively. But does he have the same defensive pedigree and same defensive ability as Chris Tanev? I think it's very tricky. I would love to see if the Canucks can keep both of them, even if they're both on short-term deals. Stecher's would take him to probably being a UFA in a few years. Chris Tanev, maybe, like I said, like an Alex Edler contract at only two years or so. But that's kind of interesting to me if they can find a way to keep them and Jake Virtanen and Jacob Markstrom. But it would mean then letting go of guys like Mott and letting go of guys like Levo, and then having some younger guys push and fill those spots. So there's a lot of things to consider. But when I look at this type of game they play, when I look at the money, and when I look at potential and room for growth, by a hair, I'm taking Troy Stecher over Chris Tanev. And that has nothing to do with the fact that Troy and I are both good-looking guys from Richmond. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. What's the biggest factor to you? Is it the fact that if Tanev stays healthy, he can be a more valuable asset, a more valuable piece, more valuable contributor to the Canucks? Or do you agree with me and you like Troy Stecher's upside, the way he plays the game, and the way that he gives us a different look pushing from the back end? Or maybe I'm overestimating his offensive ability. He's not Quinn Hughes. I'm not saying he is, but maybe he's like not even a Quinn Hughes light in that he doesn't have the same type of skill. Very, very fascinating to watch. This is going to be a very interesting situation to watch over the next few months as it plays out. We've got to get through the trade deadline and then playoffs, and then it becomes draft, and then free agency. So a lot of benchmarks as we go over the next 4 or 5 months. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. If you had to choose one, who are you keeping? Chris Tanev, Troy Stecher? Let me know in the comments below. I love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day, enjoy the rest of the night, enjoy the game tomorrow morning. God bless. Go Canucks go.